Warm, calm, reflective, and slightly mysterious. This secret matters not because it's shocking, but because it explains something people have felt about Selena for years. It explains the softness in her choices, the gentleness in her public presence, the emotional depth in her music. Many celebrities shine brightly, loudly, constantly. But Selena's glow has always been different. Warm instead of blinding, quiet instead of explosive, human instead of polished. People sensed there was more to her than what appeared on screens, but they never knew what it was. And as you drift into the story, you'll begin to notice how every element of her life subtly hints at the secret long before it became visible. This isn't just a celebrity revelation. It's a thread that runs through her childhood, her early career, her relationships, and her personal evolution. Understanding it allows fans to see her not as an icon, but as a person who has been carrying something meaningful and beautiful. The purpose of this section is to gently open your mind, to let curiosity float without tension. You're not waiting for a twist. You're floating with a feeling, a slow journey toward understanding. Every story has a path, and this one unfolds softly, like turning pages in dim evening light. There is no rush, no urgency, just a slow unraveling of moments that, when connected, reveal the truth behind Selena's silent secret. Throughout this journey, you'll notice patterns, little choices she made, quiet shifts in her behavior, warm habits that seemed simple, but were rooted in something much deeper. This chapter gently prepares you to see those clues. As you continue, you might feel yourself slipping into a calmer state. That's intentional. Selena's energy has always been grounding, and this story mirrors that. It invites you to relax, breathe, and let your mind drift effortlessly. You're stepping into a narrative that's meant to soothe you, while keeping just enough intrigue to hold your attention. A peaceful loop, a soft hook, a story that carries you gently from one moment to the next. And now, with your mind settled and your breathing even, we are ready to walk quietly into her early life, where the earliest hints of this secret first appeared.
There is something gentle about the way Selena Gomez exists in the world. Even before fame found her, that soft, almost quiet aura surrounded her like a warm whisper. Listeners often say that whenever she appears in interviews, movies, or even candid moments, there's a feeling that she's holding something deeper, something she rarely speaks about. And tonight, as you let yourself settle into a calm space, you're going to walk slowly into that hidden part of her story. Imagine Selena in her early years, thoughtful eyes, careful words, a kind of stillness that didn't feel shy but felt private. The kind of stillness people with secrets often carry. Not dark secrets, not painful ones, but meaningful ones. The kind that shape a person quietly from within. As you listen, allow this soft mystery to unfold like a slow breeze. Let the world outside fade away. Let your breathing settle. The story isn't rushing. It isn't loud. It isn't dramatic. It's flowing gently, in the same calm rhythm Selena carries in her energy. The same rhythm so many fans feel, but can't quite explain. The truth is, this secret about Selena was always there, hidden under her smiles, under her calm voice, under the way she loved, created, and grew. Nobody talked about it. Nobody noticed it. And she never felt the need to announce it. It lived inside her like a quiet spark. Tonight, we begin the journey of uncovering that spark. Not in a loud reveal, but in a warm, soothing way. A way that helps you relax, unwind, and sink deeper into this peaceful story.
Warm, calm, reflective, and slightly mysterious. This secret matters not because it's shocking, but because it explains something people have felt about Selena for years. It explains the softness in her choices, the gentleness in her public presence, the emotional depth in her music. Many celebrities shine brightly, loudly, constantly. But Selena's glow has always been different. Warm instead of blinding. Quiet instead of explosive. Human instead of polished. People sensed there was more to her than what appeared on screens, but they never knew what it was. And as you drift into the story, you'll begin to notice how every element of her life subtly hints at the secret long before it became visible. This isn't just a celebrity revelation. It's a thread that runs through her childhood, her early career, her relationships, and her personal evolution. Understanding it allows fans to see her not as an icon, but as a person who has been carrying something meaningful and beautiful. The purpose of this section is to gently open your mind, to let curiosity float without tension. You're not waiting for a twist. You're floating with a feeling, a slow journey toward understanding. Every story has a path, and this one unfolds softly, like turning pages in dim evening light. There is no rush, no urgency, just a slow unraveling of moments that, when connected, reveal the truth behind Selena's silent secret. Throughout this journey, you'll notice patterns, little choices she made, quiet shifts in her behavior, warm habits that seemed simple, but were rooted in something much deeper. This chapter gently prepares you to see those clues. As you continue, you might feel yourself slipping into a calmer state. That's intentional. Selena's energy has always been grounding, and this story mirrors that. It invites you to relax, breathe, and let your mind drift effortlessly. You're stepping into a narrative that's meant to soothe you, while keeping just enough intrigue to hold your attention. A peaceful loop, a soft hook, a story that carries you gently from one moment to the next. And now, with your mind settled and your breathing even, we are ready to walk quietly into her early life, where the earliest hints of this secret first appeared.
Selena's childhood was filled with simple, tender moments. Moments that often go unnoticed in the lives of rising stars. She wasn't the loudest child in the room. She wasn't the kind who demanded attention or commanded the spotlight with bold gestures. Instead, she observed, listened, absorbed everything around her with a maturity that felt uncommon for someone so young. Her mother used to describe her as an old soul, and those words were more accurate than anyone realized. While other children were restless, Selena found comfort in quiet activities, drawing, soft music, slow walks, sitting with her thoughts. This calm nature wasn't just personality, it was the earliest reflection of the secret she carried, even before she had words for it. People around her saw hints, but they mistook them for innocence or shyness or sweetness. They didn't realize those small behaviors were shaped by something deeper, a gentle inner truth that guided how she experienced the world. As you imagine young Selena in those early years, let that image soothe you. Picture a small room with warm light, her sitting alone at a table, lost in creativity. Picture her pausing before she spoke, not out of fear, but out of intention. Picture her looking at life with a kind of quiet understanding. Nobody understood at the time, but the signs were there.
Warm red, gold, rose gold, and copper filled the usual blues and purples of nighttime. As Selena grew older, a subtle pattern became clear, a pattern so gentle that almost no one recognized it for what it was. She gravitated toward quiet spaces, meaningful conversations, and moments that allowed her to reflect. Even amid the noise of school or early acting opportunities, she found pockets of calm where she could retreat into her inner world. While other kids sought excitement, she sought comfort. While others chased attention, she chose connection. While others hurried, she slowed down. These choices weren't random. They were part of the hidden rhythm she lived by, a rhythm shaped by the secret she carried, even if she didn't consciously know it yet. When she acted on set, she understood emotions with unusual clarity. She delivered lines with a natural softness that felt real, not rehearsed. Directors noticed her ability to step into emotional spaces easily, to feel what her characters felt, to breathe life into even the quietest scenes. At home, she often stayed up late, not to play or talk, but to think, to dream, to imagine. She wasn't restless, she was reflective. Her inner world was rich, layered, gentle, and unknown to anyone else. The pattern continued for years, the quiet observation, the deep feeling, the slow understanding of people, all hints, all gentle shadows of the secret waiting beneath the surface. These patterns shaped her long before fame ever reached her, and soon the first true signs of the secret would begin to take form. There comes a moment in every life when something hidden begins to bloom, not loudly, but unmistakably. For Selena, that moment arrived quietly, like a soft light appearing through a half-closed curtain. She was still young, still learning the shape of the world, when she began to feel a new kind of awareness inside her. It happened during a small, peaceful evening at home. She was sitting near a window, watching the sky shift colors, something she often did. But this time, she felt something deeper, a sense of inner direction, as if a part of her she had never explored was softly waking up.
It wasn't dramatic. It wasn't overwhelming. It was peaceful, gentle, and warm. She didn't talk about it. She didn't even fully understand it. But she felt the beginning of a truth inside herself. A truth that shaped the way she saw people, the way she cared, the way she expressed herself creatively. This was the first real sign of the secret she would carry for years. A secret rooted in emotional depth, private reflection, and a kind of intuition that quietly guided her choices. The sign wasn't visible to anyone around her, not yet. But inside her, something was changing, something meaningful. She didn't know what it would eventually mean. She didn't realize how it would influence her path. She simply accepted the feeling, letting it settle in her heart like a soft whisper. And with that whisper, the secret began to shape. There is always a moment in a person's story that seems ordinary to the world, but extraordinary to the heart. For Selena, this overlooked moment happened during a small break on set when she was still working on early projects. Everyone else was distracted, laughing, talking, or checking their phones. But Selena sat alone for a brief moment, watching the world with that familiar quietness she carried since childhood. She held a notebook in her hands, a simple one, nothing special. But inside it she wrote things she never showed anyone, thoughts, feelings, small reflections about life, people, and emotions. That day she wrote something profoundly simple, yet deeply revealing, something that hinted at the secret she held within herself. It wasn't a dramatic confession. It wasn't a shocking line. It was a tender observation about human connection, one that showed she understood emotional depth far beyond her years. A crew member walked by, gave her a friendly smile, and kept moving. To them, she was just a young actress scribbling in a notebook. To Selena, she was quietly acknowledging the hidden part of herself, the part that understood people's emotions like a soft intuition.
Nobody noticed the moment. Nobody asked what she was writing. Nobody realized that what she held in that notebook was the early echo of the secret that shaped her identity. That tiny moment, simple, silent, and unseen, was a turning point in her inner world. Soon after that overlooked moment, something in Selena shifted. Not in the way she acted or spoke, but in the way she carried her inner self. She started paying attention to her feelings with more intention. She noticed the emotions of others more sharply. She became more aware of how deeply she understood people's quiet struggles, even when they said nothing. This silent turning point didn't look like a dramatic change. It looked like peace. She began spending more time reflecting, journaling, and observing. Her emotional world expanded quietly, forming connections that would later influence her music, her roles, and her relationships. She found comfort in understanding things that others missed. It was as if she could feel the hidden stories behind people's expressions, even when they stayed silent. This wasn't fame. This wasn't stardom. This was the formation of her hidden truth. Some friends noticed she became more thoughtful. Her mother said she began hearing people's hearts more than their words. And Selena herself felt something inside her aligning, becoming clearer. This turning point wasn't loud. It wasn't visible, but it was powerful. It was the moment where the secret became more than a feeling. It became part of who she was.
As Selena stepped into her career, the world saw the bright lights, the growing fame, and the waves of success. But underneath it all, something much gentler was guiding her choices. The secret she carried wasn't just a part of her personality. It shaped everything she did in ways most people never realized. She chose roles that felt emotionally meaningful rather than flashy. She gravitated toward music that expressed softness, vulnerability, and truth. She avoided unnecessary drama and stayed close to authenticity. While many young stars chased noise and attention, Selena followed a quieter path, one built on emotional intuition. She understood people deeply, and this understanding influenced the kinds of stories she wanted to tell. It guided the tone of her voice, the subjects of her songs, and the way she connected with her fans. When she released emotional tracks, listeners felt something real in them, something warm and honest. What they didn't know was that her secret was shaping those artistic choices.
Her emotional awareness, formed in childhood, strengthened in silence, became her compass. This compass guided her decisions not just creatively, but personally. She stepped away when she needed to. She protected her energy. She chose peace over chaos again and again. And all of that came from the hidden truth she had carried quietly for so long.
There were several moments in Selena's career that surprised people. Moments that felt spontaneous or unexpected from the outside, but were deeply connected to her secret on the inside. One of these moments was when she chose emotional vulnerability over polished perfection in her projects. When directors or producers expected loud confidence, she brought quiet sincerity. When the industry expected glamour, she brought truth. Her secret guided her toward roles where she could feel something real. She wasn't drawn to flashy characters or dramatic arcs meant to shock audiences. Instead, she leaned into stories that mirrored the depth she carried within herself. Characters who felt, healed, reflected, or searched for meaning. Fans didn't know why these choices resonated so deeply with them. They only knew that when Selena performed, there was a softness in her eyes, a calm in her voice, a calmness that seemed to pull them in. It was as if she understood emotions in a way that made viewers feel safe, seen, and comforted. There were also career decisions that many questioned, moments when she stepped away for rest or reflection. People called it unpredictable, unexpected. But in truth, these decisions were rooted in her secret, in the quiet truth she always carried. She knew when her spirit needed space. She knew to pause. And these quiet decisions were the ones that shaped her into who she is today. Before Selena entered a new, more open phase of her life, there was a period of deep calm. She pulled back from the world, not dramatically, but intentionally. To the public, it looked like distance. To Selena, it was preparation. She felt her secret becoming stronger inside her, shaping her thoughts, her music, her perspective. She sensed that a shift was coming, one that would change how the world understood her. During this calm, she listened to herself more than ever. She journaled quietly at night. She sat with her emotions instead of rushing through them. She let herself rest. This period of stillness was essential. It allowed her to gather the emotional clarity she needed before stepping forward into a new chapter. The world often mistakes silence for weakness, but Selena's silence was strength. It was alignment. It was grounding. This calm before her transformation was not an ending. It was the beginning of truth, rising gently to the surface.
The moment came quietly. No press conference, no announcement, no dramatic reveal. Instead, it happened naturally, in the way truths often do. Selena simply reached a point where her secret could no longer live only within her. She had carried it for years, letting it guide her, protect her, and shape her. But now, it was ready to be seen. It happened during a soft, emotional conversation with someone close to her. She wasn't trying to reveal anything. She wasn't searching for attention. She was just speaking honestly, gently, calmly, openly. And in that honesty, the truth slipped out. The secret wasn't dark, it wasn't scandalous, it wasn't shocking. It was beautiful. It was vulnerable.
It explained the quiet wisdom she carried, the emotional depth in her choices, the empathy in her voice. She shared her truth with a softness that made the moment feel sacred. And once she said it aloud, she felt something inside her shift, like releasing a breath she had held for years. The secret had stepped into the light.